All right, so Robert Greene is going to talk about how to make somebody fall in love with you, and I want you to understand this: that looks does matter, okay? And I always tell people if you're not stereotypically attractive, the next best thing to make somebody fall in love with you is through them seeing you on a consistent basis, for weeks and months and periodic moments of absence, and playing the game of aura. Like aura game is a little different. Aura game is using projections. For example, if I know you, if you're a hippie girl, for example, right? I'll dress as a hippie, for example, and with that comes positive connotations in your mind. Okay, or if you're a meditator, for example, I'll dress as a somebody who meditates, and then the visual representations of somebody who meditates also comes with a halo effect of more positive traits, right? So you're pretty much using projections on top of learning of using time and getting acclimated and using the mere exposure effect to prune away the traits that they consider ugly in you. Because what happens is that over time, as they get to know you, if you notice when you meet someone that's beautiful, over time you forget that they're beautiful. Like you get used to their beauty. But also if you meet someone that's ugly, after a while you forget that they're ugly. Like that actually happens, right? And when that happens, something beautiful happens. All of a sudden you start to judge them for who they are, and sometimes people fall in love. That's how you see mismatched couples. Okay, so I want to get that out the way because I always get that as an excuse. Oh, but what about the looks? It's like I know, but this works. Okay, so this is not about how to get somebody to like you on the first date. Okay, this is more long term. This works. Okay, so if you don't think this works, it's because you don't have patience. Okay. And if you guys want to work with me one on one, go to myfoottraction.org. Check out, support me on Patreon if you guys want more content. Let's start with Robert Greene.
One of the laws is, I think, the most important. It's basically make people dependent on you. You don't want to appeal to people's love, to the fact that they like you. You want to appeal to the fact that they need you. Because if they love you, love is a very tenuous emotion. In fact, it doesn't work very well in the work situation. It causes all kinds of problems. They'll get rid of you tomorrow, even though they like you. But if they need you, it's like pulling out all of these roots of a plant to get rid of you. It's going to cause all kinds of damage all over the place. They need you and they can't get rid of you. So you need to make sure that your position in a company, in life in general, you're the only person who can do that.
Now, look, this actually has a very cynical and dark perspective. Somebody who loves you because of trauma, which is not genuine love, is really trauma bonding, has a harder time leaving you than somebody who genuinely loves you. Relationships that is foundation is genuine love. If things are not working out, there's a and it's becoming toxic, they have an easier time leaving you than someone who psychologically has an emptiness in their heart and you fulfill it. Somebody who never had a dad, for example, if I'm dating a girl and she never had a dad, and I kind of remind her of her dad through my behavior, she might have a harder time leaving me than a woman who's healthy and loves me because I'm fulfilling a deep emotional need. It's like a drug, right? That's why people who have a drug addiction and have children, for example, they'll choose the drug over their children, right? They're fucked up because they're not bad. It's just the drugs fucks with you, but because they need the drug. Need is a deeper addictive emotion than actual love. It's crazy, man. All right, let's see.
One of the laws is when you're seducing someone, it's a story that you're bringing them into. You're creating theater, you're creating drama, you're leading them into this world just like an author will lead a reader through a series of steps, right? But you have to be very focused on them and who they are in particular. And seduction involves a sense of vulnerability.
I'm gonna stop it. And I'm gonna go back a little. This is where if you're just trying to fulfill a fantasy, if you're just trying to create a certain fantasy that you have in your mind, you're gonna piss off a lot of people, and a lot of people are gonna feel used around you because you're not paying attention to them. And making somebody really fall in love comes down to you letting go of your fantasy and finding out what is their fantasy. What do they want, right? Man, I think back in my life, and I made that mistake a lot of times with women, where I just wanted to sleep with them, for example, and they wanted something more. And if I would have at least gone in her direction and given her that fantasy, like just forget about me and just say, okay, what does she want? She would have given me what I wanted times 10.
Right? Focused on them and who they are in particular. And seduction involves a sense of vulnerability, right? A sense of openness where you're letting the other person come into you. And the word vulnerable comes from the Latin meaning wound. So vulnerable means the willingness to be wounded, right? And the archetypal image of love and seduction was Cupid with an arrow and hitting you with an arrow and wounding you with love and creating blood from it. It's like there's pain involved because you're opening yourself to another person. You're willing for them to hurt you and you know that you could be hurt. And you're
And this
seducing
is
someone.
where this is where you have a lot of Terminator chicks that date, but they date to not get hurt. They date at a distance. It's almost like you fight, but the only jab, you only fight, your only skill is a jab because you don't want to get close. Those people are are the people who hurt us, are the people who struggle with intimacy, right? And honestly, you end up alone. You gotta be willing to get hurt. In fact, that's a sign of confidence. When you show someone that I could easily get attached to you, but also I could easily get detached, you are a treasure to them. The capacity to be able to love someone, but also equally pull away at the sight of things not going right is extremely, extremely seductive.
Humans nowadays, we're too into words. We just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And a classic thing in the seduction realm will be a man or a woman saying, I love you. Like, when will they say, I love you? Is a big deal. And all I try and tell in the book is that's not the language of love. That's not the language of seduction. It's something nonverbal. You have to learn this new language of seduction. It has nothing to do with words. It's in your body language. It's in your actions. When the other person feels that you love them. Humans nowadays, we're too into words. We just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And a classic thing in the seduction realm.
That's a fact.
If you're always going after the other person, if you're always the pursuer, etc., they start to take you for granted, right? You're always the one calling and texting. You're in their face constantly, thinking that that's the way to make them love you. You're also creating that they take you for granted. They think you're so familiar that they have you wrapped around your finger a little bit. And unconsciously, they lose a bit of respect. They may not say it, but it'll come out in their behavior. And over time, the spell of love will kind of diminish. So you want to step back, you want to create some distance, some absence, and you want to make them come to you.
And the problem is that a lot of us have so many creepy, needy emotions that it's too painful to pull away. And this is where having self-control matters. This is why I tell you guys, purchase my course, Emotional Mastery. It'll teach you guys how to develop that type of self-control. But what happens is that when we fall in love, a lot of times it's really you're experiencing your trauma from childhood because that's what love does. It regresses you to a childlike state. And a lot of times you just never train yourself to control that. And you lose control. And then you go back to patterns and you start being needy and creepy and being overbearing. And you push them away.
You don't want to appeal to people's love, to the fact that they like you. You want to appeal to the fact that they need you. Because if they love you, like if I were to try and seduce Connie, right, I would figure out what makes you different, what makes you unique, what you love in life that nobody else is giving you. Things from your childhood, things that make you excited, that you love, certain colors, certain.
I'm gonna stop this right now. Listen, you'd be surprised. You guys hear this and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck does that mean? I just want what I want." And it's like, listen, this is why so many people that we date are fucking shitty partners because they suck at this. So many women don't even pay attention to half of the shit that you say once they like you. All they're thinking about is how good looking you are, and they don't really pay attention to you. And we all secretly resent that. We may not notice it, but we do resent it. That's why we have to hide. That's why we have to hide how we feel. because we've been taken advantage of by people's selfishness and their own fears of rejection. That's why he says it's okay to be hurt. Like, but the problem is that damn, is it hard to get hurt. It's really difficult, and the reason why is because we have too much. Our self-esteem is too low to recover from somebody rejecting us. We got to work on that. We got to work on learning how to recover from rejection. That's a problem.
Flowers, certain gifts, certain places. And I would give that to you, right? I would get into your world instead of being obsessed with myself. I would get outside of myself into Pani's world, and I would say, this is what she is missing in her life, and I'm going to give it to her. The power of that is absolutely immense.
And the thing, and I always tell people, there's a caveat, right? We're assuming that they find you physically attractive, okay? And we all got to work on looks maxing. That's a real thing, right? So that's a caveat. Now, I always tell people, if you're not physically attractive, the next best thing is to play the long game. I always say that because I always get that complaint in the comment section.
If you are in that situation where you're looking for a long-term relationship, to look below the surface, to try and gauge the person's character, not their personality, which is different. Their personality is the mask that they wear, how
Yep.
they appear in social situations. You want to look at what's underneath that, all of their character, and how strong.
And this is where guys just marry women that are fucking bitches because they're not aware of the woman's character. They're just noticing how good looking the woman is. Women will marry guys that are selfish pricks because they're not looking at the man's character. They're looking at the man's money. They're looking at the man's looks and his surrounding. And we forget the most important thing. People divorce not because of the people divorce because of just dealing with people with bad characters, man. They're inconsistent. They're incapable of connecting. They're liars. They're cheaters. They're manipulators. They're gold diggers. You missed out on those qualities because you weren't looking at the person's character. It is truly a crazy thing in life, man. Right? Let's
You
continue.
don't have to be good looking to seduce. That's a myth. Some of the greatest seducers, male and female, were not good looking at all. It's about psychology and it's about how you carry yourself.
I mean, look at Brittany Renner, right? She's a 30-something-year-old woman manipulating younger guys. She's good looking, but come on, man. Let's be honest. She's not a fucking dime, okay? She has a bunch of kids. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. There's better looking guys, better looking women that these guys can go after, okay? With less baggage. Because she's a fucking manipulator, narcissistic fuck, right? Samantha Lee's another example. But they keep getting these guys because they play the mind game. The mind game matters. Mind game matters, man. Mind gaze matter. My gaze matter.
Seducer is very simple. I can summarize it very simply. You are outer directed. When you meet somebody for the first time, you're not having that internal monologue going, does she like me or does he like me? Am I dressed well? Am I saying stupid things?
You usually don't have that monologue when you don't like them, right? That's why we're so attractive when we meet people that we don't like. Like, we're like, they're not as good. They're not as good looking as their photos. All right, I'll deal with it. I'll just be here for like another hour, right? And in that moment, you're not thinking about what to say, and you actually end up doing what he's talking about in this video.
What can I do to impress them? No. You turn it off and you're outer directed and you're listening to them and you're entering their spirit and you're hearing them say things that give you idea of what they're missing in life, of what they want, of what their needs are, of what makes them an individual. You're absorbing it, you're entering into their spirit, and then you can reflect it back to them. You can give them gifts. You can take them to places that show that you're attentive to them. Because if you look at how we are in our day-to-day life, normally people never pay us attention. I just want to get men out of the mode because we are so goddamn analytical. It's such a problem that reading a book, reading a text, having algorithms is the only way we can think. Get the fuck out of there and pay attention to the person. Develop your mirror neurons. Develop your observational skills. Develop the human part of you that observes and feels what the other person is feeling. If you depend so much on things that you've learned from the art of seduction or from a book, it's going to make you a bad seducer. But to the degree that you can click into those human qualities that we
we all possess, where you sense the emotional tone of the other person. You sense what their vulnerabilities, you sense what they're missing in life. Yes, maybe 60% of women are missing a similar thing that there are patterns to, and maybe reading about it can kind of click that into you. Okay, fine, I'm not going to say that that's all bad, but the main thing you want is to be getting out of your head and into your emotions and into observing and into feeling what the other person is feeling.
Like, the book is meant to get you out of your own head, and the first thing people do is to keep reading a book. And it's like, no, like, you got to go out there and experience it, right? In Buddhism, we don't teach you more meditation techniques, right? Like, there's a lot of meditation techniques, but when you go to meditation retreats, they only teach you a very limited amount because you're only going to be practicing a limited amount. They say that you only learn enough for what you're going to practice, and don't read any more than what you're going to practice. Right? Today we're going to teach you from pages 1 to 2. Don't be reading page 3 or 4 because you're bored. Stay with pages 1 to 2. And in fact, only read it a few times. Oh, and if you guys enjoy this, join our Robert Greene book club on Patreon. It's where we post these types of videos. We post Robert Greene videos. We post videos about self-help. It's the paid version of my channel. So if you guys want to read the Robert Greene books with me, because we listen to it in audio like this and I react to it like this, just join the book club. You could just listen to it as you work, listen to it as you go to school, listen to it as you go to sleep. It's a really good way to learn about Robert Greene's books and get an interpretation, because a lot of people say that his books can be a little abstract, right? I get it. So yeah, do that now or else I'm closing the channel.
All right, guys, we're going to have a brief intermission so that I could tell you guys about our new bundle that we're doing, where you guys can purchase all of my courses and get it at a discount. So this bundle is pretty much the bundle where you could just buy all of my courses. You could buy Nice Guy, which is a training course on how to come across more assertive, how to come across more confident, how to not give off nice guy vibes. You guys can get access to Dark Game, which is my folk dating course on how to meet women in different scenarios, how to attract women, how to make sure you don't come across as creepy, and essentially how to act like a man and not act like a doofus, to be quite honest with you. And you get all of these bonuses, which is the bonuses of Dark Game, the bonuses of Practical Mastery, which is about how to master a skill, Social Mastery, which is how to master your social life, and the Laws of Human Nature, which is a book club videos that I had dissecting Robert Greene's book. All of this is naturally at around naturally is at $346, but you guys can purchase this bundle and get it at what's the price again? Get it at $238 pretty much. So you guys can purchase it right now. It's a money back 30-day money back guarantee. It's a good way to, rather than just buying them individually and paying extra, you guys can just purchase everything at a discount price. Now, the only thing I don't like is the fact that I'm giving you a lot of information at the same time. That makes me kind of scared, because a lot of times people don't do the things that I teach when you get too much information. But I've gotten too many requests to do this, so I'm just satisfying you guys. Purchase it right now by clicking on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle. All right, let's continue with the video.